In the heart of California, where the warm sun seems incongruent with the chilling tales that circulate every Yule, there lies a shadow that casts darkness upon the festive season. The night Yule Stalker, a real-life boogeyman, haunts the dreams of those who dare to know his story. Born from the twisted annals of human nature, the night Yule Stalker is no supernatural apparition. He is a flesh-and-blood serial killer, a ghost that walks among us when the world is wrapped in tinsel and twinkling lights. His story begins not in the dead of night, but in the seemingly ordinary events of his past. The first chapter unravels the tapestry of his life, weaving a narrative that snakes through the ordinary, leaving only whispers of the monstrous reality that would emerge. His upbringing, seemingly innocuous, hides the seeds of darkness that would grow into a chilling legend. A psycho-thriller unfolds as the reader delves into the abyss of the night Yule Stalker's psyche, the unsettling precursor to the horrors that await. As a child, the night Yule Stalker displayed an unsettling fascination with the holiday season. While other children eagerly awaited Santa Claus and joyful celebrations, he found solace in the shadows. He would sit alone in his room, crafting macabre decorations from discarded bones and decaying leaves, his mind already twisted by a darkness that lurked within. The night Yule Stalker's parents, oblivious to the sinister undercurrents of their child's obsessions, encouraged his creativity. They prudely displayed his disturbing artwork around their home, unaware of the monster they were nurturing. As the years passed, the night Yule Stalker's behavior grew more disturbing. His fascination with the holiday season turned into an obsession, his mind consumed by visions of blood-soaked presents and screams drowned out by the carols that filled the air. The night Yule Stalker's descent into madness reached its peak on a snowy Christmas Eve. On that fateful night, he donned a red suit, his face hidden beneath a twisted mask of jolly cheer. Armed with a bag filled with horrors, he set out to spread his own twisted version of holiday cheer. His victims, chosen at random, would find themselves torn from the warmth and joy of the season, their lives snuffed out in a brutal act of violence. Their blood would stain the snow, a macabre contrast to the pristine white landscape. The night Yule Stalker's reign of terror continued for years, each Christmas bringing a new wave of horror. The authorities were baffled, unable to catch the elusive killer who struck only during the most festive time of the year. But as the night Yule Stalker's notoriety grew, so did the determination of those who sought to bring him to justice. A team of detectives, haunted by the ghosts of his victims, committed themselves to unraveling the twisted mind behind the holiday slayings. Their investigation took them deep into the dark underbelly of the Christmas season, where carolers sang of joy while the night Yule Stalker lurked in the shadows. With each piece of evidence they uncovered, the true extent of his depravity became clear. The night Yule Stalker's legacy is one of fear and terror, a chilling reminder that evil can lurk behind the most festive facade. His story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most joyous of occasions can be tainted by the darkness that resides within us all. So, as you gather around the Christmas tree and exchange gifts with loved ones, remember the legend of the night Yule Stalker. Let his story serve as a chilling reminder that the line between holiday cheer and unspeakable horror is thinner than we could ever imagine. As the snow fell softly on the streets of California, a sense of foreboding hung in the air. The night Yule Stalker's presence was palpable, his malevolence seeping into every corner of the city. People whispered his name in hushed tones, afraid to speak it aloud for fear of summoning his wrath. The night Yule Stalker's reign of terror began innocently enough, with a string of seemingly unrelated crimes. At first, the authorities dismissed the incidents as isolated incidents, the work of deranged individuals. But as the body count rose, it became clear that a more sinister force was at play. Detective Sofia Rodriguez was assigned to the case, her experience in tracking down serial killers making her the ideal candidate. But as she delved deeper into the night Yule Stalker's twisted world, she realized that this was no ordinary investigation. The night Yule Stalker seemed to have an uncanny ability to blend in with the holiday festivities. He would lurk in the shadows, watching his victims from afar before striking with ruthless precision. His victims were chosen carefully and without any discernible pattern, making it nearly impossible to predict his next move. As Sophia dug deeper into the Yule killer's past, she discovered a disturbing pattern. Each year on the anniversary of his first kill, he would return to the scene of the crime, leaving behind a twisted gift for anyone unfortunate enough to stumble upon it. The gifts were always gruesome, a sick parody of the joyful presents exchanged during the holiday season. Severed limbs wrapped in festive paper, organs arranged in the shape of a Christmas tree, and dolls made from the remains of his victims. It was a horrifying display of his twisted mind, a reminder that no one was safe from his wrath. Sophia knew that time was running out. If they couldn't catch the stalker before Christmas Eve, the city would be plunged into even greater darkness. But the killer seemed to always be one step ahead, eluding capture with ease. Desperation set in as Sophia realized that she would have to think like the night Yule stalker if she had any hope of catching him. She immersed herself in his twisted world, studying his every move, trying to anticipate his next move. And then, on a cold December night, Sophia received a chilling message. It was an invitation to play a deadly game, a chance for her to prove herself against the killer. He promised that if she could outwit him, he would reveal his true identity and put an end to the killings. Sophia knew it was a trap, but she also knew that she had no choice. She had to face the night Yule stalker head-on if she wanted to bring an end to his reign of terror. The location was a dilapidated warehouse, a fitting backdrop for the final showdown. As Sophia stepped into the dimly lit room, she could feel the weight of the stalker's presence. He emerged from the shadows, his face hidden beneath the twisted mask of jolly cheer. Their eyes locked, and the room seemed to grow colder. The killer's voice was a sinister whisper as he taunted Sophia, his words dripping with malice. He reveled in the fear he saw in her eyes, relishing in the power he held over her. But Sophia refused to let fear consume her. She had spent months studying the night Yule stalker's every move, analyzing his patterns and understanding the darkness that drove him. She knew that he thrived on the power he held over his victims, and she was determined to take that power away. With each passing moment, the tension in the room grew. Sophia's heart raced as she made her move, using her knowledge of the killer's twisted mind to outmaneuver him. The struggle was fierce, a battle of wits and wills as they fought for control. And then, in one final desperate move, Sophia managed to disarm the Yule stalker. The room fell silent as the reality of his defeat set in. The once powerful killer now lay helpless at her feet, his mask shattered, revealing the face of a broken man. As the authorities rushed in to apprehend the Yule killer, Sophia felt a sense of relief wash over her. The city could finally breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that the nightmare was over. But as she looked into the eyes of the man who had terrorized the city for so long, she couldn't help but wonder what had driven him to such madness. What darkness had consumed his soul and turned him into the night Yule stalker? It was a foggy night in the sprawling city of Los Angeles. The streets were dimly lit, casting eerie shadows on the buildings and alleyways. The sound of distant sirens echoed through the night, adding to the uneasy atmosphere that hung in the air. In the heart of the city, a group of friends gathered at a local bar seeking solace from their everyday lives. They shared stories, laughed, and indulged in drinks to escape the monotony of their daily routines. Little did they know that their lives were about to take a sinister turn. As the night wore on, a stranger entered the bar. He was tall and imposing, his cold eyes scanning the room with an unnerving intensity. The group of friends couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines as the stranger approached their table. He introduced himself as James, a writer with a fascination for the macabre. Intrigued by his mysterious aura, the friends invited James to join them. He regaled them with tales of unsolved crimes and urban legends that plagued the city of Los Angeles. As the night grew darker, James revealed a twisted secret. He claimed to have detailed knowledge of a series of brutal murders that had occurred in the city. The friends listened, captivated by his words, as he described the scenes of horror in vivid detail. But as James delved deeper into his stories, the line between reality and fiction began to blur. The friends questioned the authenticity of his tales, unsure if they were mere figments of his imagination or if the horrors he spoke of were real. James, sensing their doubt, offered them a challenge. He proposed they embark on a journey through the darkest corners of the city to uncover the truth behind the urban legends and unsolved crimes. Intrigued and filled with a mixture of fear and excitement, the friends agreed. Their first stop was an abandoned hospital rumored to be haunted. The air inside was thick with an oppressive energy, making it difficult to breathe. As they explored the decaying hallways, they encountered strange apparitions and heard disembodied whispers that sent shivers down their spines. Next, they ventured into the depths of an underground tunnel system, said to be the hiding place of a deranged serial killer. The friends navigated the labyrinthine tunnels, their hearts pounding in their chests. They could feel the presence of something sinister lurking in the darkness, watching their every move. With each new location they explored, the friends found themselves facing increasingly unsettling scenarios. They encountered twisted creatures that defied logic, witnessed inexplicable phenomena, and experienced moments of sheer terror that pushed them to the brink of their sanity. As their journey continued, they stumbled upon a dilapidated mansion on the outskirts of the city. It was said to be cursed, haunted by the vengeful spirits of its former residents. The friends cautiously entered the mansion, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. Inside, they were greeted by a chilling silence. The air was heavy with a sense of foreboding, and the flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows on the walls. As they explored the mansion, they discovered bloodstains on the floors and walls, evidence of the horrors that had unfolded within its walls. Suddenly, a door creaked open on its own, revealing a hidden chamber. The friends cautiously entered, their hearts pounding in their chests. They were met with a sight that would forever haunt their nightmares. The walls of the chamber were adorned with disturbing paintings, depicting scenes of violence and suffering. In the center of the room, they found a table covered in blood-soaked tools, evidence of unspeakable acts committed within the confines of the mansion. Fear gripped the friends as they realized the true nature of their journey. They were not merely exploring the dark corners of the city, but rather, they were being drawn into a twisted game orchestrated by James himself. In the end, only one friend remained, a survivor filled with a burning desire for revenge. Armed with newfound determination, they confronted James in a final showdown. The battle that ensued was brutal and bloody, a clash between good and evil that would determine the fate of Los Angeles itself. As the sun rose over the city, the survivor emerged victorious. James lay lifeless at their feet, his reign of terror finally brought to an end. But the scars of their journey would forever remain etched in their minds. The survivor, now haunted by the horrors they had experienced, vowed to protect others from falling victim to the darkness that lurked within the city of Los Angeles. People whispered their name, seeking their help when faced with the unexplainable and the terrifying. They became a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience in the face of unimaginable horrors. But even as they fought to bring justice to the city, a lingering question remained. Had they truly defeated evil, or were there darker forces at play waiting to rise again? The survivor knew that their battle was far from over, and that they would have to remain vigilant, always watching, always ready to confront the darkness that threatened to consume them. The city itself became a character in the ongoing tale, forever changed by the events that unfolded within its borders. People spoke of the lingering spirits, the haunted locations, and the unsolved mysteries that plagued Los Angeles. It became a place of fascination and fear, where the line between the living and the dead, the real and the supernatural, was blurred beyond recognition. As I walked through the dimly lit streets of New York City, a chill ran down my spine. The city that never sleeps seemed eerily quiet tonight, as if it held its breath in anticipation of something sinister. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that hidden eyes followed my every move. I quickened my pace, hoping to escape the suffocating sense of dread that had settled upon me. But no matter how fast I walked, the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each step. The streetlights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced and twisted along the pavement. As I turned a corner, I stumbled upon a crime scene. Police tape cordoned off the area, and a small crowd had gathered, their whispers filled with fear and speculation. Curiosity got the better of me, and I edged closer, trying to catch a glimpse of what had transpired. The sight that met my eyes was enough to turn my stomach. A body lay sprawled on the ground, blood pooling around it like a macabre painting. It was a gruesome sight, the work of a deranged mind. The police officers huddled together, their faces pale and grim, exchanging hushed words. Rumors circulated through the crowd, whispers of a serial killer on the loose. The city was gripped with fear as the body count continued to rise. The newspapers dubbed the killer the Night Yule Stalker, a name that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. The killer left no clues, no trace of his presence. He was a ghost, striking at random and disappearing into the shadows. Panic spread like wildfire, and people locked their doors, afraid to venture out after dark. In the midst of the chaos, I found myself drawn further into the mystery. I became obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the Yule Stalker's reign of terror. I delved into police reports, interviewed witnesses, and scoured the dark corners of the internet for any clue that could lead me to his identity. But the more I dug, the deeper I descended into a rabbit hole of darkness and despair. The lines between reality and fiction blurred, as I became entangled in a web of conspiracy and deceit. The city itself seemed to conspire against me, its streets twisting and turning, leading me further away from the truth. Each night, as I lay awake, I could feel the Night Stalker's presence looming over me. His chilling laughter echoed in the depths of my mind, a constant reminder that he was always one step ahead. I became trapped in an endless loop of fear and paranoia, my sanity hanging by a thread. As the body count continued to rise, I realized that I had become a pawn in his twisted game. He reveled in the fear he instilled, relished in the chaos he created, and I, foolishly, had played right into his hands. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The city lived in fear, its residents held captive by the killers. The police were at a loss, their every move thwarted by the cunning killer. But I refused to give up. I knew that somewhere buried deep within the darkness, there had to be a clue, a sliver of hope. And so, armed with newfound determination, I continued my quest. I followed the breadcrumbs, piecing together fragments of information that led me to the heart of the city's underbelly. I discovered a secret society, a group of individuals who reveled in chaos and bloodshed. They worshipped the Stalker, hailed him as a god among men. Their rituals were twisted and grotesque, a twisted dance of pain and suffering. I witnessed things that no human should ever see, horrors that haunted my dreams. But I pressed on, my desire for justice overpowering the fear that threatened to consume me. In the depths of the secret society's lair, I came face to face with the Night Yule Stalker himself. His eyes gleamed with sadistic delight, his smile sending shivers down my spine. He taunted me, played with me like a cat with its prey, but I refused to back down. I fought back, unleashing a fury that came from deep within. Blow after blow, I struck him, refusing to let him break me. And in that moment, as his body crumpled to the ground, I felt a surge of triumph unlike anything I had ever experienced. The city breathed a collective sigh of relief as the killer's reign of terror came to an end. But the scars he left behind, both physical and psychological, would forever haunt the city that never sleeps. As I walked the streets of New York City, long after the stalker had been apprehended, I couldn't help but feel a lingering sense of unease. For evil had found a home within these concrete walls, a darkness that would forever stain the city. The Yule Stalker may have been caught, but the horrors he unleashed would forever linger in the minds of those who had suffered at his hands. The city had been scarred, its innocence shattered by the brutality of one man. In the aftermath, the streets held a somber atmosphere, as if their very foundation mourned the lives lost and the fear that had gripped its inhabitants. People cautiously ventured out once more, but the shadows seemed darker, the night air heavier with the weight of what had transpired. The media buzzed with reports of the Night Yule Stalker's capture, the trial that followed, and the justice served. But for those who had been touched by the darkness, the scars remained. Nightmares haunted their sleep, and paranoia became their constant companion. The city tried to move on, to rebuild its shattered sense of security, but the wounds ran deep, and the memories of the killer's nights of horror were not easily forgotten. The streets, once vibrant and bustling, now held an undercurrent of unease. Whispers of the stalker's true identity circulated among those who sought answers. Some claimed he was a supernatural being, a creature of the night who fed on fear. Others believed he was a deranged individual driven by a twisted desire for power. The truth, however, remained elusive. The Yule Stalker had left behind no clues, no breadcrumbs for those who wished to uncover the secrets of his dark mind. He had vanished into the abyss, leaving only a trail of destruction in his wake. Years passed, and the city gradually healed. The scars faded, but the memory of the Night Stalker's reign of terror lingered. A cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones. People learned to live with a newfound awareness, a constant vigilance against the evils that lurked in the shadows. But there were those who still believed. Those who refused to accept that the killer had been just a man. They delved deeper into the darkness, seeking answers that may never be found. Their obsession became their own form of madness, an insatiable hunger for closure. And so in the dead of night they gathered. A group of individuals bound by a shared trauma, determined to uncover the truth. They ventured into the forgotten corners of the city, where whispers of the Yule killer presence still lingered. Their search took them to abandoned buildings and forgotten alleyways, where the air was heavy with the stench of decay. They followed the echoes of his laughter, the chilling whispers that seemed to carry on the wind. The city watched with bated breath, as if holding its collective breath, waiting to see what they would uncover. But as the group delved deeper into the darkness, their numbers dwindled. One by one they disappeared, swallowed by the very shadows they sought to illuminate. The city whispered tales of their fates, of gruesome ends and tragic disappearances. In the end, only one remained. A lone survivor, haunted by the horrors they had witnessed. They carried the weight of their fallen comrades, their voices forever silenced by the darkness. And as they stood on the precipice of discovery, they realized the truth was far more terrifying than they could have ever imagined. The Night Yule Stalker had not been a man, nor a supernatural being. He had been a manifestation of the city itself, a reflection of its darkest fears and desires. He had woven himself into the very fabric of New York, his presence forever etched into its history. The lone survivor retreated, their spirit broken by the revelation. They retreated into the shadows, forever haunted by the horrors they had witnessed. The city continued to thrive, its streets filled with life once more. But the scars of the Yule killer's reign would forever remain, a reminder of the darkness that can reside within even the brightest of cities.